Yeah, it's been a very successful day. Wish you a great day, everybody.
Simon Leviev, now the most wanted man on Tinder, and maybe not in the way that you'd expect. Simon is a professional conman and fraudster who has conned an estimated $10 million out of his victims from across the world in a Ponzi scheme. Ponzi scheme is basically when someone lures investors but uses money from previous investors to induct new ones, basically creating this cyclical manner of wealth where he uses previous victims to pay for a new victim to become part of his trap. While the man has heartlessly scammed tons of innocent women out of hard-earned money, leaving them in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, he is also a free man dating an Israeli model. Today we're covering the life of Simon Leviev and seeing what he's up to now. Tomorrow though, you decide. Let us know in the comments down below who you think we should cover on the next episode of Where Are They Now? And please don't forget to like this video for more content just like it. Simon was born in a very poor part of Israel, in a slum outside of Tel Aviv. While not much is known about his early life, we do know that Simon was born into crime, as his father was a rabbi who had been accused of aiding Simon in defrauding another rabbi out of hundreds of thousands of shekels, amounting to about 400,000 US dollars. We also know that he was completely disowned by his mother, and when he was 15, he moved to New York with his family friends. Those family friends would later accuse him of misusing their credit card for $40,000, and they kicked him out of their house, so he went back to Israel. He's been committing minor frauds since he was a kid, starting out with check fraud, where basically one writes a check to illegally obtain money that isn't there. In 2011, Simon was charged with theft, forgery, and fraud for attempting to cash stolen checks in Israel. A year before that, he allegedly stole checkbooks from a family he was babysitting for, attempting to forge 3 checks, and from a household while working as a handyman. He was also charged with leaving a 5-year-old baby unattended for a long period of time. Simon was found out and then arrested and released on bail for about 3,000 American dollars without having ever served any time in jail. Later that same year, Simon officially fled Israel under a fake name and passport. In 2015, Simon was arrested again in Finland, this time for defrauding several women out of their money. He defrauded 3 women in the UK, Finland, and Bangkok of about $215,000. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison, and when he was arrested, he claimed to be a man born in 1978, and he also had 2 forged Israeli passports, 3 forged Israeli driver's licenses, 2 forged Israeli flight permits, and 5 forged American Express credit cards. He served his 3 years in prison in Finland. Then once his sentence was over, he was supposed to be extradited back to Israel because he had an arrest warrant out there. But once Simon was dropped in Israel, he quickly went to work assuming a different identity, this time by changing his last name to Leviev. Under this new name, he could pretend that he is related to Lev Leviev. Lev Leviev is a billionaire businessman involved in the diamond trade. He would use this surname to begin luring in his first victims through Tinder. After he changed his name, he fled the country again. In 2018, it is now our first confirmed time that Simon was back in Europe, and it was also when he began defrauding the women that are in the Netflix documentary, The Tinder Swindler. Simon met Cecile on Tinder in January, and by May, she would have him reported to the police. He would lure his victims by showering them in affection and lavish gifts. He would take them on private plane rides, party in exclusive clubs with them, all on his own dime. He would spend months with these women, convincing them that he was the son of a diamond mogul and billionaire. Eventually though, he would claim that his unnamed enemies had attacked him, sending these women photos of him and his bodyguard badly hurt. He would then ask them to take out loans to send to him so he could reach safety. This is when he would take the money and begin recruiting new women by using his previous victims' cash to continue living the lavish lifestyle. From there, he would send out fake checks to the women he defrauded to placate them before ghosting or leaving completely. When Cecile realized she had been defrauded, the police basically did nothing. She instead went to the press to try and dissuade Simon from being able to bankrupt any more victims. The news site published the article titled The Tinder Swindler in February, and by June 2019, he was arrested in Greece by Interpol for using a fake passport. He was extradited from Greece back to Israel to finally answer for his crimes, but it's not nearly the justice we would have hoped. Simon would only be charged with 15 months in prison and made to compensate his victims for around 40,000 US dollars, even though he reportedly stole millions of dollars. He didn't even serve the full 15 months. months. Instead, he was released after only 5 for good behavior. Now, here we come up to post-arrest. He is still wanted in several European countries, but hasn't gone back to them because in Israel, he's a free man. The reason why he's so free is because technically he didn't really commit a crime. Although he scammed these women, they knowingly and willingly took out their thousands of dollars worth of loans, even if it was under false pretenses. Simon didn't technically steal anything, even if he was lying about his safety to make these women think that he would be in real danger if they didn't give him their money. Now, at 31 years old, Simon had an active Instagram and Tinder account. He had almost 100,000 followers on Instagram where he posted his lavish and expensive lifestyle. But once a documentary was released, Tinder banned his account. Why they didn't ban it years before is beyond me. Then, as the documentary gained tons of popularity, Simon deactivated his Instagram altogether with the final message of, quote, "Thank you for all your support. I will share my side of the story in the next few days when I have sorted out the best and most respectful way to tell it, both to the involved parties and myself. Until then, keep an open mind and heart." The women he swindled are still paying off their debts and likely will for years to come. In a statement made by Tinder, they said, quote, "We have conducted internal investigations and can confirm Simon Leviev is no longer active on Tinder under any of his known aliases," even though when the documentary was released, he was still active. Now though, despite being banned from Tinder and taking down his Instagram, Simon does seem to have a new beau. His new girlfriend, named Kate Conlon, is an Israeli model who has been seen traveling around with Leviev in a Rolls Royce on his Instagram stories. Apparently, he had contacted her through Instagram in November 2020 and pursued her for 4 months before she agreed to meet him. According to Kate, quote, "He did not hide anything from me. It was important to him that I know everything about him from the beginning." She also apparently is convinced that Simon is innocent with the statement, quote, "The sums they said he strung were equal to the gifts he buys me on Saturday. It's absurd. Why should he take a girl for tens of thousands when he spends such a sum as a matter of routine? It doesn't make sense." She hasn't been quoted on how she felt about Simon being active on Tinder as early as 2022, but if his main source of income, his victims, is now gone, who knows how he's going to continue paying for his girlfriend's gifts. She also insists that he makes his money entirely legitimately, through real estate and business consulting. She's bragged about how he's doing big business and property and how during his business consulting events, quote, "No one gets up to use the bathroom because his advice on how to succeed is so interesting." Who knows, now that Simon's unable to utilize his previous methods of fraud, if he will continue to be able to live his lifestyle of theft and fraud.
People see you as the ultimate scammer. Are you?
No, absolutely not.
Anna Delvey, or should I say Anna Sorokin, is a woman who has successfully swindled the New York elite out of millions of dollars in order to pay for her lavish lifestyle. By creating the persona of a wealthy German heiress, she was able to defraud banks, hotels, and wealthy acquaintances. Then, in 2019, she was arrested and charged with multiple counts of grand larceny, larceny in the second degree, and fraudulent claims. She is currently serving in prison, and with the newly debuted Netflix documentary Inventing Anna, her legacy is sure to disallow her from being able to ever take advantage of Americans ever again. Today we're covering Anna Sorokin. Tomorrow though, you decide. I'd love to hear in the comments down below who you think we should cover on the next episode of Where Are They Now? And please don't forget to hit the like button for more videos just like it. Let's get into it, shall we? Anna Sorokin was born in a small town southeast of Moscow in Russia. Her father was a truck driver while her mother owned a convenience store before becoming a housewife. When she was 16 years old, her family decided to move to Germany where she attended high school. Apparently, she was described by peers as being very quiet and had a difficult time attempting to grasp the German language. Once she graduated high school, Anna relocated to London to attend an art school but quit shortly thereafter. She then relocated to Paris to work for a fashion magazine, Purple. Around this time, Anna Sorokin changed her name to Anna Delvey. Her parents later reported that they, quote, "do not recognize the surname." During the summer of 2013, Anna traveled for the first time to New York City to attend New York Fashion Week for the magazine she was working for. She liked it in New York City and found it much easier to make friends than in Paris. She opted to stay and transferred to the magazine's New York office for a time before quitting. Around the time that she quit, Anna invented the idea of the Anna Delvey Foundation, which was a members-only club and art foundation. She proposed the idea to several wealthy friends who were all members of the city's social scene. How she met these friends were through various social gatherings where, quote, she managed to be in all the sort of right places. She was wearing really fancy clothing, and someone mentioned that she flew in on a private jet. Someone who was close with Anna later recalled that she had claimed to be from Germany, and although her German wasn't very good, no one really thought it was unusual because, quote, there are so many trust fund kids running around. Everyone is your best friend and you don't know a thing about anyone. In fact, suspicions didn't really arise at all for a long time, even though Anna was known for being a little strange. She would sleep on friends' couches, moving into someone's apartment without paying rent, and putting taxi rides on other people's credit cards. But a lot of her uber wealthy friends just thought, quote, maybe she had so much money she just lost track of it. Eventually, when she turned 25, Anna started to put into motion her plans for the exclusive club. She started to meet with food and beverage consultants and put in the plans to fund the project. In order to make her entire lavish vision come true, she would need to secure almost $50 million in funds. At first, she turned to private investors before deciding against it because she didn't want anyone telling her what to do. Eventually, she got in touch with a lawyer who put her in touch with several high rollers after she signed an agreement that she actually had the resources to pay for all of this and wouldn't embarrass the firm. For some reason, I guess they never called her bluff because she now had contacts with the National Bank and Fortress Investment Group. In investor mode now, Anna began having dinners with artists and celebrities alike to try and sway them into giving her money for her club. The whole time she was in New York City, she was staying at 11 Howard Avenue, a fancy hotel. She doesn't have a credit card on file, which normally doesn't happen, but the hotel was new at the time and they were intimidated by Anna's friend circle, so she had agreed to wire the hotel money. After it didn't come, management grew antsy because before eventually the money was wired. But still, the hotel wanted to put a credit card on file for her. Eventually, the hotel changed the lock on her room and put her items in storage while Anna was out of city. Eventually, her bills began to pile up, and with all these checks bouncing, she was finally charged with grand larceny and tons of counts of fraud. She was admitted to Rikers Island, a famous prison in New York, and she obviously couldn't pay her bail, so she awaited her trial in prison. When speaking about the friends she'd made in prison, Anna stated, quote, there are a couple of girls who are here for financial crimes as well. This one girl, she's been stealing other people's identities. I didn't realize it was so easy. Apparently, her whole time she was in prison, she never admitted to any guilt. She also rejected the claims that she was a wannabe socialite, stating, quote, I was never trying to be a socialite. I had dinners, but they were work dinners. I wanted to be taken seriously. I would have better and faster ways to get some. Resilience is hard to come by, but not capital. She was sentenced to 4 to 12 years in 2019 in a trial that caught national attention for Anna's outfit. The famous baby doll innocence of Anna Sorokin's trial seemed to give off the illusion of her sweetness and inability to do anything wrong. The bouncy white dress wouldn't save her though when she was convicted of defrauding hotels, restaurants, banks, and a private jet operator out of more than $200,000. After her trial, she was sent from Rikers Island to the Albion Correctional Facility in upstate New York. Then, during a parole hearing, Sorokin once again apologized and expressed remorse. Quote, I just want to say that I'm really ashamed and I'm really sorry for what I did. I completely understand that a lot of people suffered when I thought I wasn't doing anything wrong. She was then asked what she spent her time doing in prison, to which she replied that she had been interested in the culinary arts, yoga, meditation, and debate. A year ago now, in February 2021, Anna was officially released from prison after serving only 4 years. She got let go early because of good behavior. Then, once released, she was approached by Netflix to do a documentary. Although she isn't entitled to any of the money gained from royalties, she was a paid consultant for the docuseries that dramatizes her life. Apparently, she is using that money to pay back almost $200,000 in restitution to various banks that she's defrauded. She's also attempting to get her charges downgraded to a civil dispute from a criminal charge. As of 2022, she had a Twitter account, but it got suspended. Her Instagram account, however, is fully active, and she posts regularly about herself and her Netflix series. Julia Fox even commented on one, and it's still a little weird to see all this positive press coming out of all of her post comments. People seem to really like the woman, who would definitely have swindled them out of their money if she got the chance to. But it's not all smooth sailing for Anna now that she's free of her charges. She's now officially overstayed her 2017 visa, and now that she's finished her conviction, it's American law to deport her back to Germany. She's now currently in ICE custody as they deliberate whether to deport her back to Germany or Russia, or let her reapply for an American visa. There's the argument that she hasn't fully rehabilitated, given that her Instagram post seems to consider it all to be some kind of joke. Her attorney has filed a motion to have her released, but nothing has come of it yet. Now, while in ICE detention, Anna has said, quote, "While the world is pondering Julia Garner's take on my accent in Inventing Anna, a Netflix show about me, the real me sits in a cell in Orange County's jail in upstate New York, in quarantined isolation. My visa overstay was unintentional and largely out of my control. I served my prison sentence, but I'm appealing my criminal conviction to clear my name. I did not break a single one of New York State's or ICE's parole rules. Despite all that, I've yet to be given a clear and fair path to compliance." And now Anna's future remains in limbo as she awaits her asylum appeal or if she'll officially be deported back to Germany.